Hey, everybody. Welcome to Drunkards Walk, the podcast. It's me, Matt Hartman. I'm one of the hosts of Drunkards Walk. And if you've listened before, you already know that. And if you haven't listened before, welcome to a brand new experience for your ears. This is a chance for you to hear a podcast all about traveling from one page on Wikipedia to another page on Wikipedia. But I'll get into that later. You see, now I have to get to the part where I introduce my co-host. That's right. I'm trying to build the anticipation here because I do have a co-host. It's the same co-host that I have every week. And if you've never listened before, you probably don't know who that is. But if you have, you already know that it's Jethro Nolan.
Wow. What an explosion of anticipation for
see, I left you speechless.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I'm stumbling over. Even I was surprised that I was introduced. I was like, he's building up to something. It must be magical. And then I was slightly disappointed to find out that it was me.
Oh gosh, yes. Sorry, a little anticlimactic. I apologize about that.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. Especially for first-time listeners who don't know who the fuck I am. So
that's right. That's right.
Well, sorry about that. Yeah.
Or perhaps they do know you, but from some other thing, some other place. Perhaps they've heard your name, but they've never seen your face, like they also can't now.
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, really, Drunkards Walk is the pinnacle of my fame.
Oh,
so that's and it hurts me to say that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we can't all be Elvis,
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. If we were, then Elvis wouldn't be special.
It's true.
Yeah.
And he is.
Yeah. Oh, incredibly.
Very much so.
There was a movie and everything. Jethro, it's great to see you again this week. Last week we rolled into the new year and here we are about a week in and kind of getting back into the routine, still having some trouble when I write my checks, still putting the wrong year on those.
Yeah. I'm still, I do the same thing, but with Venmo.
Yeah. Well, most of my checks are from 1995. So that's the biggest issue I have is that I'm writing them in 2023. But yeah, it's great to see you again, buddy. And I'm excited to once again stumble through Wikipedia. I started to explain it earlier.
You did. I was afraid I was going to miss the boat for that portion of the podcast because it's my favorite part of the podcast.
Yeah,
where we tell people that we go from one random Wikipedia page to another, and hope to get there in the shortest number of clicks. And if I couldn't be here for that part of the podcast, I'd be very, very sad.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Oh, and Jethro, actually, I have to make a correction. To an episode that we published a few weeks back. Remember when we went on our walk with Dave Foreman from Rocket to Marie Louid?
Yeah.
Remember that walk? So we were talking at the beginning of that about how he had won the arcade auction in the past. That is actually not true. That was his first win of an arcade auction. The reason he walked with us previously was because he donated at the highest level of our Patreon.
Ah, there we go.
You
know what? Dave's generosity manifests in so many forms that it's difficult to keep track because he donated that fountain to the city.
Right.
That is huge with all the horses and everything. Like he's a known philanthropist in the Pittsburgh podcasting community, and we're
for sure
a welcome recipient of his beneficence. But it's hard to keep track of the many ways that Dave Foreman's majesty manifests.
Yeah, it's very difficult to keep it all straight. But I did want to apologize to our listeners for that. I want to apologize to Dave for that, messing up. And if anybody, I'm sure there were a lot of people listening to that episode screaming and yelling at their phone. I guess that's what most people listen on. Maybe a computer. I don't know if you're at work listening to this. But yeah, so there it is. I have set the record straight. So consider it done.
Well, let's just hope that apology is good enough for Dave Foreman.
Let's hope so. I gotta hope.
He also bears a violent grudge.
That's true. That's true. As giving as he is also very withholding.
Sometimes you'll be walking around Pittsburgh and you'll just pass Dave Foreman on the street and he'll be holding like a knife in a raccoon's paw.
Yep.
And it'll be covered in blood and he'll just shout the name of his enemy, and then you just get out of the way at that point because.
Gosh, I can't even count the number of times that I've seen that. But I mean, it all makes sense. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's not senseless violence.
No. It's very sensible violence.
Reason behind it.
That's why not guilty every single time. He's always acquitted.
Every single time.
The jury's like, it sounded crazy going in, but Dave Foreman.
That's right.
Point by point, dismantled all of the objections against.
That's right. That's right. So we did that. So we reached Marie Louise, and then last week we went from there to Astronaut Beach House. Remember that? We got to the Astronaut Beach House last week.
Oh yeah, we sure did.
And that was a blast.
Good one.
It?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It was out of this world.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
It's a whole episode.
It was NASA.
Matt, I have, and forgive me for interrupting what I'm sure was going to be a solid hour and a half.
There was more. I had a
dad
lot.
Jokes around rocketry.
Yeah.
We have our starting point, but we don't have an ending point, and I'm despondent because I don't think we're going to have a place to go on the podcast, and it's just going to be, another hour and a half of your rocket humor.
Jethro, I am not worried at all, and I'll tell you why. Because I have with me today, in my pocket right here, my good friend Steve Heaton. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, man? Let me out of this pocket. Why am
Come here. There you go.
Oh, there
you go.
Hey.
Yeah. Sit up here on the desk. There you
What's
go,
up,
buddy.
guys? How are you?
Hello, Steve.
Doing great.
Hey, Jethro.
There's a bit of a forced perspective thing. I'm trying to figure out if Steve is very tiny or if your pocket's very big.
Both.
I'm in the back of Matt's room, so it's like a forced.
There you go. I gotcha.
We also painted the lines so it just appears, and as you walk closer,
it's the old Hagrid and Harry Potter phenomenon. I get.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like way too much effort for a non-visual podcast, but
I know.
I'm happy to help.
I mean, if nothing, we are known for unnecessary effort that does not produce results in the actual end program.
Right.
That's actually the definition of a podcast, I think.
Exactly.
Steve, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here. Now, again, I'm not going to surprise anybody when I tell them that I met Steve doing improv. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Seems to be a common thread, yeah.
A gasp from the audience. Steve and I met way back in 2002.
That's right.
I think that was 20. It'll be 21 years this year, I guess. But it was September, maybe August, July. I don't remember, but it was 2002. That I recall at the Old Vic in Ballston Common Mall.
Little comedy sports action, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
good times, man. 20-some years ago. Good God.
Yeah, right. Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy. Nuts? And I've been in your pocket the whole time, which is just insane.
That's right. Just
thanks for the
around.
M&Ms, by the way. They were
no
they
problem.
got me through some hard time.
I know. Yeah, and Steve is currently you're like 25 now, so he was like 5 years old when we met. He was very very young, and but just incredible improviser, incredible performer from day one. Just kind of blew me away with the stuff that he would come up with. So no, he wasn't really that young, but he was very young. How old were you at that point?
When I joined, it was New Year's Eve of going like 2001 into 2002. So I was 17 and I was still going through high school and finishing up there, and then connection to circumstances and people that we know. And ended up auditioning and got in, and it was definitely a life-changing event. So yeah, those were the beginning years of doing it kind of professionally, so to speak. But yeah, the summer, fall that you came on, there was a whole bunch of great people that came on at that time. And you guys definitely kind of were the bigger brothers I never had. So it was a hell of a time to be alive. It was awesome.
Well, that's good, because I felt like I was learning from you the whole time. So I know that I was significantly older than you, but you definitely knew the craft way better than I did when I started, for sure. And then from there, you have done all kinds of comedy stuff. Tell us a little bit about like the different groups that you've been involved in aside from that comedy sports thing.
Yeah. So did comedy sports, which was awesome, and all the fun times we had out there in kind of that Northern Virginia area. And then started my own group off the cuff, and so that was with David Sly, and we did improv and sketch, and we kind of did like a hybrid version of the two, and so that was a really good time. And then for the last 15 years, been doing Last Ham Standing, which is in Northern Virginia area. And so we've been doing that, and taught at a whole bunch of high schools. And that's really where my passion is now, especially just with the teaching. So, but yeah, taught it and did some sketch and never done the stand-up thing that scares the crap out of me, but that's definitely on my bucket list. I need to at least attempt it to say I did it. But yeah, no, a whole lot of different travels along the way and touring all over the country, and then following my friends that have moved to different places and perform there too. So yeah, improv is good for that, kind of getting around and seeing people and entertaining, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice indeed.
And as part of this, at one point, did you own or did you just run a movie theater?
So yeah, that was crazy. It was the Tally Ho Theater in the Leesburg, Virginia, and we ended up renting it. It was just this weird situation where a good buddy of ours, Dave Wright, he was like, "Hey, I found this theater that we could perform at." We're like, "Great!" We had no idea what to expect, and it was like Art Deco. It was built in the 30s. It was this classic movie cinema that was going out of business, and so we took that over. And then so shortly after, we were thinking, "Great, we're going to run like a comedy theater. How awesome is this?" And then it was like, "Well, no, to actually keep the lights on, we need to like play movies." So then we had to quickly figure out and like barter with studios and like sign our lives away and pursue it, and like, signing a contract with Sony on it, and you're 23 just trying to figure out who you are, and you're like, oh crap, this it seems like I'm on the hook for a lot. But we ended up like hiring 15 20 employees, and it was this thing that was supposed to be this little comedy pipe dream, and it became this big deal for us, at least for a good like 5-year stretch. But it was absolutely insane. Like, we had no business, no credentials to be there, but it's kind of like the improv philosophy, right? You just show up and you're like, all right, well, here we are. Let me yes and it and try to figure this out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was great.
And do you look back on that time fondly?
I do. And at the time, it was like super stressful, of course, right? And it kind of goes with it. And then, retrospectively, you look back and you're like, oh man, those are really good times, and just crazy chaos and midnight premieres of movies, and then doing shows. And yeah, it was absolutely insane. But it was really, really good time.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun place. And then you've followed the logical path. You've continued on as a performer, and now your full-time gig is very closely related to the arts and performing, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. Eventually something magical happened when I hit 35, and I was like, you know what? The door's closing if I ever want to pursue any kind of military thing. So let me just give it a shot. So I am now in the Air National Guard, and that's like my full-time job, which is weird because you tell people like Air National Guard, and they're like, oh yeah, that's like the 1 weekend a month thing. And you're like, well, kind of, except sometimes it's full-time. So I do emergency and disaster preparedness. So all those times on stage when scenes were going horribly, horribly wrong, I knew I was preparing for something, and it was a different life. Yeah. But emergency and disaster management. So it's, helping out domestically, natural disasters, and then internationally, helping out and making sure people know how to wear gas masks and, deal with hazardous situations. So yeah, it's a complete 180 from anything I've done before, but that's kind of the way I roll. It's just like, all right, well, let's figure it out. Yeah, it's crazy though.
Yeah, I imagine not a lot of opportunity for doing bits when you're helping a child put on a gas mask.
The colonels don't like the bits as much. But
I mean, if the military is famous for anything, it's their sense of embracing chaos and spontaneity and humor.
Yeah,
right?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's definitely been a change. But we were talking about like the times looking back and thinking of fondly and stuff, and like the times we were in Arlington. Jethro, the stories I could tell you about Matt.
I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple hours, right? So
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a great time. Well, but like I said, just amazing performer, Steve here. I always enjoy doing shows with you, man. You just came up to Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, actually, and we did a show with Off the Cuff. You and Dave Sly were up here, and we did a show. So if anybody caught that, if you were one of the 10 people that saw that show, you are in luck, because it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun time for sure.
Gee, Matt, I wish I could come in from out of town and do a show with you.
You do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you should definitely do that. You should come from what's the place that you're living now? The town.
It's a place. It's connected with one of the roads.
Yeah. What was the name of it again? I keep forgetting the name.
No, you haven't forgotten. I explicitly haven't mentioned it to you.
Damn it! I keep trying to trick you into that. Well, yeah. You should come. You should come and do a show, Jethro.
How's January 21st looking for you?
January 21st. That's only like 11 days from now. You want to?
Yeah, I know,
come?
right?
You want to come and do a show on the
Let's do a
21st?
Let's
All
do a
right.
show.
You want to do this show?
Let's do it, but let's reimagine it for the stage.
All right. Let's do it. Let's at Arcade Comedy Theater, 8:00, let's say, Saturday the 21st.
I love it. Sounds great.
All right, that's fine. I'll see you there. We'll do this show there. Steve, if you want to come up, we'll save you a seat and everything. You can watch us live. In fact, absolutely. You know what? You know who else we should invite to do that, Jethro, is Rick Seaback.
I'd love to invite Rick Seaback.
We should have Rick. You know what? Done. He'll be there.
Wow, that's pretty ballsy of you.
Nope. That's what I'm calling
Rick's
it right now.
Rick's a very popular guy. He's a man about town. He's always got various commitments. So he would be a major get if we could get him. That's
true. Well, go to arcadecomedytheater.com, click on the ticket link there, and get your tickets to the first Drunkards Walk Live.
I can't believe we put this together that quickly.
Awesome.
That was amazing.
Well, you do what you got to do. So.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, we love talking to you, but we have to go on this walk. And in order to do that, we have to go somewhere. And you are the one who is responsible for telling us where we're headed. So what did you bring us today for a destination, buddy?
I am pumped. So this is where I'm going to send you is a person, and it's Dudley Riggs. Do you guys know Dudley Riggs?
I do not. Is that R-I-G-G, Riggs?
R-I-G-G-S.
Yeah. Oh, R-I-G-G-S. Sorry, yes. Okay. So, who's Dudley Riggs?
Being an improv nerd back in like the early 50s, Dudley Riggs was he was essentially worked for the circus. So him and his family worked for the circus, and so they were with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey as well, and they did just aerialist acts. He was like vaudeville comedian. He was really young when he started, but how it kind of connects with improv is that the rumor has it is that during like hostile performances, so the audience was drunk or just raucous and they were creating a big scene, he would then take the things that were frustrating the audience or ask them about their town and just essentially take suggestions. That's all he was doing, but taking these suggestions and then creating these impromptu scenes. And so based on that, he created kind of his own theater. And so it was this instant theater company, and then took that to New York, eventually came back to Minneapolis where they settled. And then that's what formed the Brave New Workshop, which is out in Minneapolis. So kind of a cool story, but yeah, a guy kept kind of taking that negative and turning it into a positive. That always resonated with me. But Dudley Riggs is a real cool dude if you ever have the time to look him up.
Very cool.
Well, we're going to look him up today. Actually, we're going to hopefully we'll get to his page. Yeah, we'll get to hear a little bit more about. Well, that's awesome. So you said he was around in the 50s. Is that when he first started performing, or is that like the 50s or?
He was before that, so he was doing the circus stuff. He actually started when he was like 5 years old, and then eventually kind of like stand around, and like his parents would do a whole bunch of aerial acts, and so he kind of spot them and move stuff around. But then eventually, of course, became part of the act. But that was by the early 50s is kind of when he got the comedy thing off the ground. So he's definitely an improv pioneer that not a lot of people know about.
Gotcha.
Did he? It sounds like he did not go through the traditional Second City route of.
So it's funny. So when he got the theater established, he does have some connections to Del Close, and then so part of his touring company would also tour with some of the Second City folks, and so there is a connection there with the Del family of improv and this guy Dudley Riggs. So he kind of featured on a couple different stages.
Well, Brave New Workshop is legendarily well respected in improv and comedy circles. I've never been to it myself, but it's definitely on my list.
I haven't been either, but yeah, another bucket list item for sure.
Yeah. I don't know enough. I mean, I know generally history of improv stuff. When did Jethro? You'll know this for sure, and I'm sure Steve, you do too. When did Second City start? When did that all get established?
The exact year I'm gonna
ish.
Late 50s. Late 50s. Okay. Gotcha. Is I believe when they were founded, because I think they just had their like 65th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was the Compass Players first, but that was like in the mid 50s, and then eventually Bernie Solins, after he saw that the Compass worked, he founded the Second City thereafter.
Yeah, December 16th, 1959.
There we go.
Oh, wow. So very late 50s.
only a couple weeks left in the 50s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. This is a person I've never heard of before, but clearly is an ancestor of us all in kind of helping develop the form of improv, I'm sure. That's cool. That's cool, man. How did you hear of this person? How are you even familiar with Dudley Riggs?
Just doing some research and doing some reading, and then came across it, and I was like, I've never heard of this guy's name. And of course, the Brave New Workshop I've heard of out in Minneapolis, but I was like, I'd never heard of Dudley Riggs. And then it's kind of like almost like your show, right? It's like the more you dig in, the more you discover. You're like, holy crap! So this guy's definitely played a big role in improv. So
very cool.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This topic. We're going to try to get there from Astronaut Beach House, which I haven't looked at again, but as I recall, does not have a lot of links out of it. So it will be a little bit of a challenge, but we will do it. We promise you we will find our way there. But again, thanks so much, and thanks for being on. And hopefully, we'll have you back up here in Pittsburgh again, do some more performing. Hopefully, I'll come back down and do some more shows with you guys. Steve, it's always a pleasure to see you, man.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Good luck.
Cheers.
Thanks. Take care. All right, Jethro. So
it
is Astronaut Beach House to Dudley Riggs. But before we go, we've got to make some predictions, and I don't know about you, but I'm having a little drink tonight. So we can talk a little bit about that.
Oh boy, what are you having there? What do you got there in the old glass?
I got so this is a new bottle I got for Christmas this year from my wonderful parents. It's New Riff Single Barrel, and if you recall, New Riff is what our guest Ryan Warner was drinking when he gave us the infamous suggestion of Postmodern Jukebox.
Our white whale.
I have never tried this before, but it is 106.2 proof.
Ooh, look at you.
You know I like those high proof bourbons, and this is no exception. It is quite tasty, and it has notes of salmon and the circumhobbs bottom.
Oh, I love those.
You can taste a little bit of in there, and it's got a very mouth feel to it.
Wow.
So really good, really fun. Wow. And in addition to this, I also got some of those whiskey rocks, like those like metal ice cubes that you put in. I'm not using those though, because I tried using those last night and almost bashed my teeth out. So I don't understand how you're supposed to drink with those. But
I got some of those a couple Christmases ago, and they quickly fell into disuse. I don't think they serve their purpose better than a big obnoxious spherical ice cube.
Yes, the pretentious ice ball. That's my favorite. Well, how about you, man? What do you got?
I'm having a little $2 chuck, as they say, a little Charles Shaw Nouveau, because and you can't get this normally at the Trader Joe's in Pittsburgh, but you can't. When I used to live in California, they had $2 chuck aplenty, and here in Michigan they have $2 chuck aplenty, and it's great to be able to buy wine at a grocery store. So there you go. Matt, is the screen frozen?
No.
What?
You just said you're in Michigan.
What? I did? Oh no! What a faux pas!
Let's hear it for $2 Chuck helping me out, boy.
There we go. But it's a big state.
Yes.
That is shaped like a hand, and good luck finding them because it's a massive state.
But are you on the Upper Peninsula? Because that's a thing, right? The UP. Are you on the UP?
Is that like the TV network that shows Dawson's Creek?
No, that was the WB.
Okay, but they're both 2 letters, so you can see my confusion.
The UP had an N on the end of it, and that's where you could watch Voyager, I believe. Star Trek Voyager.
Speaking of Voyager, we need to voyage from Astronaut Beach House.
Do we?
To a place far, far away.
Good one.
A man by the name of Dudley Riggs. So
should we make a prediction, even though it's not going to matter?
Oh yeah, we should. It matters, Matt.
Okay.
It matters.
Okay.
Because even though it's not going to affect the outcome of the season,
okay, it still matters.
It's an opportunity for me to make you feel bad once again.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you're thinking of it that way.
Or vice versa. Like it's like you're a gunslinger who's already been shot fatally in the gut, and you know you're going to die, but you can still get one off on me. And won't that make you feel better as you pass away?
I love getting one off on you. That's one of my favorite things to do.
I'm going to not touch that.
Getting one off on Jethro.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So the Astronaut Beach House.
Yes.
Wikipedia
Astronaut Beach House
is incredibly small.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
I hadn't even looked back at it, and I'm looking at it now, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 links out of here.
All right. So let's just go through them one by one. All right. So Cape Canaveral, Florida is the first link. That's out because it's geographic, right?
Oh,
Okay.
gosh, I thought it was Cape Canaveral was one link and Florida was another, so it's early on the 7. But yeah, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't want to go through geography. Yeah.
NASA is one, but again, we got here and we got to rockets through NASA. So going through NASA feels like treading the same water, and we owe more to the listener, I think.
Well, we did not actually go through NASA, let's be clear.
Okay, but the same idea.
Things that were connected to NASA. We went through the Kennedy Space Center. We went through the Space Shuttle program.
So the Kennedy Space Center is another link. So that's out.
Yep,
and it's purple because we went through it coming here.
We did.
Eminent Domain is listed.
Yes.
Which, who knows, maybe when the Brave New Workshop was founded, the city of Minneapolis used eminent domain to seize some of the land.
Possibly.
Sorry. But that only happens for sports stadiums. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They don't build improv theaters the same way.
I don't think it would be on a page about eminent domain either, even if that was the case.
Fair enough. Yeah. So astronauts is listed here. Astronauts famously not improvisers because astronauts have skills that are in demand in the job market.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we've got 40 and 41, which are both launch pads in the Cape Canaveral complex. So those don't seem to be particularly of use to us.
Nope. And that's it.
So that's it.
All
those are all the links.
That's all the links.
Of that modest hodgepodge.
Yep.
What do you like?
Astronauts.
Why do you like astronauts?
Well, I'll tell you, Jethro, astronauts here refers to people. So they are people, much like Dudley Riggs was a person. And my feeling is that if we go from a profession of some kind, perhaps we will be able to get into other professions. Also, I think that astronauts is going to be a fairly large page. Eminent domain might be as well, but astronauts to me just feels like a little more fun than eminent domain. So that's where I'm going with it.
What do you don't want to look at the seizure of privately held land by the government?
I mean, I'm not saying I never want to look at it. I'm just saying that right now it's not tickling my fancy.
Yeah. I mean, but to me it feels like it's casting a wider net than astronauts is.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, because eminent domain gets invoked. There's a case law history. There's a history behind it. There's examples of its usage for various things, which...
So you hope, anyway.
Well, I think it's likely. But that casts a broader net than astronauts, which is really just, here are the few dozen people who've been into space.
Yeah, well, I mean, but astronauts, if we do start getting into specific examples, there have been a lot of astronauts that have been involved in pop culture and on television shows and featured in different things because they were popular at particular times. And so I think that we can get from astronauts into something like comedy and comedy performance and improv easier than we can get into it through eminent domain.
I don't know. No? I don't know. It seems like a very narrow exit for us.
All right. Well, if you really feel that eminent domain is a better path, I will follow it. But I do not think it is as much fun.
I will say they're both shitty paths. So
for sure.
I freely confess to that. Yep. But given the amount of astronaut and space exploration stuff we've done over the last few weeks,
okay,
getting away from that is more varied. I'm thinking about your binge listener here, Matt.
Sure.
The person who just got out of prison and who's like, I got to catch up.
Just got out. Why were they listening while they were in prison? What was
because it's a prison and you don't have freedom of podcast listening as much.
Yeah.
So Dave Foreman, I should admit that on a couple of those times where he went screaming through the streets holding a raccoon's paw, he didn't get convicted of assault or murder, but he got some minor weapons charges, and he's done a stint or two.
Yes, indeed,
in some of the local prisons, but that's not going to keep him. So
look, eminent domain. Then you say, and I like your argument about the fact that we've done a lot with the space program. So I'm happy to follow eminent domain, which takes us actually to eminent domain in the United States.
Oh boy, that's a problem.
In case that's a problem, now you know about it, and not a super long page, I will say.
It is not.
But there are some examples on here, so that's good.
Indeed. Here we go.
I see Centralia, Pennsylvania on here, which of course is geographical, so I wouldn't spend too much time even looking at it, but it is on here.
I see Thomas Jefferson.
Do you?
I do under the history. He favored eliminating all remnants of feudalism and strove for alloidial ownership.
Yeah. Yeah.
And alloidial ownership, as we all know, is constitutes ownership of real property that is independent of any superior landlord. Alloidial title is related to the concept of land held in allodium, or land ownership by occupancy and defense of the land.
Sure, sure. You say it and it sounds exciting.
Well, for me, it's written on my heart, and I just repeat it.
I'm sure that it is. I do. There's a lot of links to different amendments in here. And I know we're not going to go through geography, but gosh, there is a Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad Company versus City of Chicago on here, and Chicago famously known for its improv.
It's true, and I will say though that's not going through geography because that is a specific legal case that is referenced in the link.
It is, but I think out of that we would be going through Chicago.
Who's to say, Matt? Who's to say? Let's not prejudge what wonderful links we might find on that page.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying, keep it open. Keep it open.
Okay. All right. Capital gains tax is on here. Incarcerated, I see on here as well.
There we go. President George W. Bush, both of which are linked here, due to the Kelo versus New London decision, which was a famous Supreme Court decision that came down about eminent domain.
I see some names of some companies in here. You got General Dynamics Electric Boat is on here. It was a subsidiary of General Dynamics Corporation, and Pfizer is linked on here as well. I wonder if there's a way through something like that. Slums. Wow, the word slum is God. Let's never mind. Let's not go through that. Gosh, I don't public use, Bill of Rights, Constitution. None of these are professional sports team, I guess, or just sports team is on here, as is professional sports. Copyrights. Hey, we could get back to copyrights if we wanted to.
Yeah, we that's a well-known path that takes us through parody that we know we can go through.
Yeah. Patents, trade secrets. Excuse me, trade secrets is on here. Trade secrets. Oh, I wonder if trade secrets is a way to go.
How so?
Well, performing and things like that, like that's kind of a trade. And I wonder if there's trade secrets, if there would be like examples of performers who have trade secrets, which would get us into that type of area.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
I mean, there's certainly performers with trade secrets, but I mostly think of magicians when I think of that.
Okay, so be it. Then let it be a magician that we go through. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's somewhat connected to comedy. They vaudeville. Well, it's definitely connected to vaudeville, right? I mean, there's definitely some magicians in the vaudeville acts. We're doing illusions.
That's fair. There's a link to the Texas A&M University School of Law, which I did not attend, but shout out to my alma mater, Texas A&M.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello.
So what do you think? What do you like here?
Well, I tell you what, George W. Bush was the subject of much comedy. So I do like him.
We've been through a lot of presidents, I feel
we have. It's fair. I do like the court case that you mentioned about Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad Company, the city of Chicago, because Chicago is always a fun place to be. Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights would get us to First Amendments, which could definitely get us to comedic expression.
Interesting.
I'm thinking George Carlin and or Lenny Bruce is probably the most prominent examples thereof.
Sure. Well, I don't mind that. That's not so bad. The other ones I'm not you don't have me too sold on. Bill of Rights through to freedom of speech. Maybe I still kind of like trade secrets, man. I kind of feel like that might be a fun thing to go through. But
I feel like the performing arts are going to be more associated with First Amendment than trade secrets. Trade secrets is like the manufacturing process for graphite extract and shit like that. That's
I understand.
Less exciting.
Generally speaking, it's stuff more like that. Yes, I would agree with you.
Whereas freedom of speech, performance It's a much bigger overlap in the Venn diagram of those two concepts.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but we get to the Bill of Rights, then you get to get a freedom of speech. It's a lot of links.
It's two links.
It's more than it's more than one to get into what we're actually trying to get to, right? Which would be freedom of speech.
It's more than the one that you're imagining would exist.
No. What I'm saying is, if we're trying to get to freedom of speech, it's two to get to freedom of speech from here, right? Versus if we think that there is something on one of these pages that already relates to comedy, that already relates to improv, instead of having to go from Bill of Rights to freedom of speech to then find something that is connected to comedy, we can cut out a link there. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, for all I know, the capital steps might be listed on the Bill of Rights page, because those folks are always churning out Washington-based zingers one after the other.
That's possible. That's certainly possible.
Have you ever seen the Capitol steps?
Jethro, I dated one of the Capitol steps.
What?
It's true.
You did?
I did.
How did that work?
Fine.
Okay.
She was a great girl.
All right. And
I'm not married to her, so that you do the math.
I got it. So I take it you've seen the Capitol Step shows?
I have seen one of the Capitol Step shows, whichever one they were doing at that time, call it 2000.
And as a seasoned comedy performer, and creator, what is your appraisal of the Capitol Steps as a comedy product?
I think that it serves its audience well.
That's a very measured statement.
Well, it's true. I mean, there's a certain audience that goes to see the Capitol Steps, and they love it.
It feels like it's a corporate show for people in the politics industry.
For sure.
Where if you were doing a plumber's convention, you'd be talking about sprockets and they'd be going crazy.
Yes,
it's the same thing for that.
Yeah. Well, and anybody that's on a DC tour, right, and that is over the age of, say, 50, maybe 55. They're going to get taken to that show, and they are going to it's going to be a hoot for them because it makes fun of the politicians and all whatever. I mean, I wrote a sketch around that same time that made fun of the Capitol Steps because of that exact same my feeling about
did you have was there a group that was the target of your parody that had a name different than the Capitol Steps?
I forget what we did. There was, but I can't remember the name of it now. It was a long time ago, man.
All right. Well, circle back to me on that.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can track down the sketch and I'll send it.
Good deal. All right. So we agree. Bill of Rights is the way to go.
We don't agree on that, but
well, we've got to agree. We can't move forward if we don't agree. So I say Bill of Rights. What do you say? You say trade secrets? I'm just making sure.
Well, So for a second, I was going to try to suggest the California Supreme Court, hoping that there were entertainment cases that would have gone through there that could have gotten us in to that thing. So what do you think about that? The California Supreme Court, with Los Angeles being in California.
So I agree with you that California is a place where a lot of entertainment stuff happens, having lived there and having been excluded roundly from that industry.
Sure.
But I will conversely say that because that is a place where a lot of entertainment stuff happens, that is a jurisdiction that is less likely to prosecute the entertainment industry because of its political heft being such an important industry. It's like you would think Nevada, there's got to be a lot of gambling lawsuits there. No, because the politicians are all bought and paid for by the dominant gambling industry. So the Nevada Supreme Court probably sees less gambling lawsuits per capita than, say, a Mississippi or a Louisiana.
Right. I'm referring more to the fact that there are performers who live in California who have been convicted of, or at least at the very least accused of other things that aren't related to the entertainment industry, but they are entertainers themselves.
Oh, so
that's what I'm referring to.
That kind of stuff would happen, but I don't know that those types of things would make if they're just like possession of weed or something, that like those are going to make it to the California Supreme Court.
I hear you. Okay, well,
so we agree, Bill of Rights.
I don't agree with that, but
I've worn you down, though. Well,
right? I'm gonna follow it only because we need to keep moving forward. But I don't think it's a great idea.
I'll take the win. Bill of Rights, it is. All right, the United States Bill of Rights comprises the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution. We got so much going on here. It's amazing. There's a background. There's a whole list and application of text. Oh my goodness.
Is there?
There is. And I'm going to jump straight to the First Amendment.
The First Amendment.
That's right. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press. It is the First Amendment because it is the amendment on which everything else is based. If you lose all of your rights and you still have the freedom of speech, you can regain all of your other rights.
Sure.
Or so I've been told.
Do you see anything there under that section that refers to what other than just freedom of speech? Do you see anything that is a little more connected to what we're looking for here?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Cool.
I like freedom of speech as a place to go.
Do you?
Yeah, this section is briefer than I would have hoped.
Oh, cool.
I will say though that there is a link to a main article, First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which I think is going to be a fully fleshed out exploration of the history and the ramifications. Which that page, I think, would be chock-a-block. And I don't use the word chock-a-block lightly.
Is that even a word? Is that
it's absolutely
hyphenated? Is that a hyphenated word?
Oh, I never hyphenate it.
Okay.
We've got a hyphen shortage here in Michigan, so I keep those for when I need them.
It must be so freeing for you to now be able to say that you're in Michigan.
It is. It's been hell on me not being able to shout it from the rooftops.
I bet.
But you still don't know what city, so there we go.
Oh, there's only one there, isn't there?
No, there's
Michigan.
At least 3 cities.
Okay. Detroit, Little Detroit, and Detroit City. Detroit Rock City. That's one of them. I know that.
That is a phrase.
So I am seeing a lot of what do you call it? Geography on this page. We could get into probably at least Minnesota, if not Minneapolis, from here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Minnesota. Yeah, there's Near versus Minnesota. There's another court case for you, which you seemed to like that idea last time. So you want to go through a court case? There's a Minnesota one now.
Is there now?
Yeah.
I mean, you were strong when I was weak, Matt. You were strong in pushing back against it because we knew that we would sully ourselves.
Yeah, getting out of it would be the problem, right? That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like First Amendment to the United States Constitution as our link. And
it feels like we're just going from one. I guess right now we're in the Bill of Rights, huh? We're not really in the first First Amendment.
Correct.
I see Griswold. Oh no, it's Griswold versus Connecticut. I thought maybe we had a connection to a comedy movie there for a second.
That's right. Did Clark Griswold sue to have his movie released in Connecticut? Is that what it's?
That's what I was hoping for. We hold these truths. What's that? A celebration of the 150th anniversary of the United States Bill of Rights was an hour-long radio program that explored American values and aired live on December 15th, 1941. Hey, this is a radio program. I kind of like that. Getting into entertainment from there.
Do you now?
I kind of, yeah. How about the National Archives building? That's gotta have some archives of comedy. Ugh. No, yeah, you didn't follow. Nope, not with me. Okay.
No. I'm sorry. I was looking at the page trying to find.
Library of Congress is not here anywhere, is it? I guess it probably wouldn't be.
Why did Dudley Riggs have a comedy album in the Library of Congress?
Well, I mean, Library of Congress has connections to all kinds of, performers and recordings and things like that. So, I think that there's a path through that for sure. If you happen to see that, do you happen to see that anywhere?
I mean, there's paths through everything. It's a question of what are we going to do here?
There's also exceptions to First Amendment protections. Do you think that there would be anything on there where it was for a while they wouldn't let you say certain words on television and things like that?
Where is this link to the exceptions?
It is under First Amendment. It says these rulings are also defined a series of exceptions to First Amendment protections, and that is linked.
I'm not seeing it. Where?
Not that much in that section. It's in the call it the second real paragraph, not counting the quote that's there.
So the one that starts Everson v. Board of Education?
Yes, exactly. Go 3 lines down, and there it is.
I think the problem with that is that comedy and theater are all protected speech. And I think things that are likely to be unprotected speech are going to be things like, libel and slander and incitement to violence and things like that are not part of the target of what we're going for. They certainly were disputed in particular times, but they are now seen from a modern perspective as protected speech in a way that the legal consensus currently is things like, threats of violence are absolute exceptions to the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Well, whereas George Carlin saying fuck is not.
Yeah. Well, but you can't, there's still stuff you can't say on television, right? So.
But that's not, I
understand. You're saying it's a different type of thing, but I just wonder if it's connected at all. Might not be.
Yeah.
Might not be at all.
Yeah. Right. I think the First Amendment to the United States Constitution is the broader thing that is going to have links to more of those sort of disputed things, including the George Carlin case, which was a landmark Supreme Court case that was definitive.
All right. Well, then
but I'm open if you feel strongly about another link.
No, I don't feel strongly about it. And what did you say? What's the actual link we're looking at?
The First Amendment article to the United States Constitution main article.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
All right. Here we are. So many wonderful things here.
First Amendment. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's all sorts of stuff: internet speech, commercial speech, compelled speech, memoirs of convicted criminals, defamation, private action, freedom of the press. So many great things.
Yeah. Anything about performing or performers?
I see circumcision. That is listed here.
Do you?
Yeah. Stay with me.
Jethro, put your pants back on. For the love of God.
Listen, the premium subscribers are getting what they paid for.
They're getting something.
Indeed. There's a lot on here. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Again, put your pants back on.
I was talking about my penis. That's what that was about.
I don't okay, so I see I see books. I see obscenity. There's a whole section on obscenity.
Is there?
There's the old "I know it when I see it" quote about pornography, defining pornography. But it's not, but there's nothing in here. I see James Joyce's Ulysses. I see Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence.
There we go.
But there's nothing on here about like comedians or George Carlin or anything along those lines.
It is disappointing because I'd very much hoped that there would be.
Oh man.
We're stuck. We're trapped. We're trapped.
So there's followed a different path. Should have done a different thing.
There's Hustler magazine versus Falwell. That's listed here.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's not particular. Well, I suppose that could get us into the movie, right?
Could be. That gets us to Milos Forman, which gets us to Man on the Moon, which gets us to Andy Kaufman.
Oh my gosh, such a long.
Oh, wait a minute! Here it is. FCC Commission versus Pacifica Foundation.
Oh,
because the Pacifica radio folks played George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on television over the radio, and the FCC sued them, and that's the one that gets us to George Carlin.
Okay.
Which gets us to comedy.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know.
So that's an option.
It is. And again, it's a good option.
I'm open. I'm open if you see something better.
Well, I do just see that Hustler magazine on its own is linked here. I don't think it's a quicker path to comedy, but it is like a more modern pop culture-y type reference than say Ulysses.
It's fair, but do we really want to take our listeners through Hustler magazine?
No. Well, I also don't think that it's going to help us. I mean, I think that the this lawsuit is would get us to comedy more quickly than Hustler would. I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I don't even know. Like, I know that Playboy was famous for having like humorous columns and things like that in it, aside from just naked ladies. Hustler, I don't really know much about other than the naked ladies. So
I've actually temped at both the Playboy Corporation and at Hustler.
What?
How
did that happen?
So I was a temp for many years in Chicago, which is the home of the corporate headquarters of Playboy magazine. So I temped in like their marketing department or something for like 3 days or something.
Oh, okay.
And actually, while I was there, they had like bound volumes of all of their stuff. And I actually read Lenny Bruce's autobiography because it was published serially in Playboy while I was there. So that was fun.
Right.
And then
in Playboy, right. In Playboy.
Yes, in Playboy. And Hustler is not known for that. It is known for being lowest common denominator,
I see.
Incredibly explicit sexual material. And the level of sophistication of their humor is somewhere around the range of like an 11-year-old boy whose father doesn't love him.
Oh,
so
good Lord.
Yeah, it's a terrible. They have what they think of as comedic material in that astute publication, but it is not sophisticated, nor would we enrich our lives by focusing on it any further than we already have.
Gotcha. All right. Well, then we will move on from that pretty quickly. I'm just looking through real quickly here to see if there's anything else that I can see that makes more sense or that gets us into comedy more quickly. I'm not seeing anything yet. I have a feeling I'm not going to find anything, but I just want to make sure that I check. There's a lot of court cases in here, and not as many other things. There are other things linked. I mean, there are a lot of names linked, a lot of historical figures and things like that. There's coercion test. Oh, nope, that takes you to another court case. So yeah, it's Thomas Jefferson. Was Thomas Jefferson funny? Maybe we should have gone through him. Maybe that would have gotten us into capital steps more quickly.
There is a link to Richard Nixon here, and he was deservedly so the butt of a lot of humor in the early 70s. Like I collect comedy albums, and there's a lot of them that are specifically targeting Richard Nixon. I don't know if they're important enough to make it onto Nixon's page. And to your point, we've done a lot of presidential stuff already. So, well,
he was on Laugh-In, and that was a pretty big deal.
Sock it to me.
Yes, to the point that I think that might be on his page.
Wow, is it interesting enough to overcome your earlier objection to going through presidents?
I think it might be, actually. Yes.
All right.
I think it might be.
All right. So we've got two plausible exit paths: FCC versus Pacifica, which we know gets us to Carlin, but Carlin is not Dudley Riggs, or Nixon, who could very well get us to Laugh-In, but may not.
Yeah.
I'll let you pick, and I won't say a word against.
I just wonder. I wonder which.
They're both viable paths.
So we're trying to get to comedy so that we can get to improv so that we can get to this guy. What's the best way to go? That's a tough call. That is a tough call. Are you leaning one way or the other? I know you're gonna let me make the final choice, but are you leaning one way or the other?
I mean, I lean to Carlin, but Carlin was also a stand-up, so it's not exactly. And also, like the range of comics who took aim at Nixon was very broad. Yeah. So there's probably a higher percentage chance that we get to somebody, because like Carlin might get us to Jack Burns, who was early Second City, or Avery Schreiber was early Second City. Burns was Carlin's comedy duo partner early on before they split up and went their separate ways. But it's a couple of clicks, whereas Nixon might be shorter, because the only comic we're going to get to through FCC versus Pacifica is George Carlin.
It's George Carlin for sure. Yeah,
Richard Nixon might get us to one or two more.
Yeah, I think we give it a try. Where did you see Richard Nixon linked here? So
Richard Nixon is linked under the freedom of the press section in about the, I want to say third or fourth paragraph down. It's in the section where they're talking about the Pentagon Papers.
The Pentagon Papers.
Right before they mention the Pentagon Papers, Richard Nixon is, it's just after the New York Times versus the United States, in which the administration of Richard Nixon sought to ban the publication of the Pentagon Papers.
Yeah, no, I am definitely not seeing it here. Freedom of speech and of the press, is that the section that you're in? Or is there a different section that's
freedom of the press? Freedom of the press.
It's just called freedom of the press. Okay, hold on.
So it's under.
All right, I'm just going to back up to the top and link down to oh, wait, it's called freedom of the press? Oh, all the way almost at the bottom. I see.
Freedom of the speech and the press is the larger section, and it's the subsection of that part that is freedom of the press.
Yes, Pentagon Papers, Richard Nixon. There it is. I see it. All right, cool. I am ready to go.
All right, Tricky Dick.
Let's do it. Richard Nixon. I choose Richard Nixon. And that is not something that's been said for a long time. So let's see what we got here.
At long last. All right.
we finally made it to the Richard Nixon page. This is what everything's been building towards, folks.
Indeed.
We finally found it.
I'm going to jump straight to the 1968 presidential campaign.
Okay.
Because I believe that's when, is that when he showed up on Laugh-In?
You got me. I don't know.
68 feels like
on it at all.
68 feels like, oh yeah, that was prime Laugh-In territory right there.
Okay. I mean, yes, definitely 68, 69. Definitely around those times. I went down to personality and public image, and there are no link. I mean, there are links in that section, but there's nothing that's going to help us.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything under.
Cool.
It's almost as if he was a hugely historically consequential individual, and the tiny little barbs thrown at him by comedians were not sufficiently important to merit.
Well, there is a whole nother page called Cultural Depictions of Richard Nixon.
Oh yeah, that's got to have it.
And it feels like it would be in there, but I thought it would be here too. So I'm now I'm a little gun shy.
Oh, I hear you.
So let's see if there's anything else on here. I really thought that the Laugh-In thing would be on here, because that was well, I guess in my world that was a big deal, but in the real world probably it wasn't as big of a deal as I.
Yeah, no, it's almost as if the rest of the world doesn't prioritize comedy to the same degree that we do.
It's weird. It's weird. Why wouldn't they? No, yeah, they're wrong. That's it. That's what it is.
That's it. They're wrong for not prioritizing comedy.
Yeah, it's not us. It's them.
Thank God. I always suss that out.
I see Margaret Thatcher on here. David Frost is on here. The old Frost Nixon interviews.
There we go.
Jimmy Carter. He was a cut up. So maybe we go through Jimmy Carter. Well, CBS is on here. So you could get into CBS and broadcasting if you wanted to. You could get into Nixon, the movie. That's on here.
Yeah, that was a laugh riot.
Yeah. The only person I know for sure that was in that was Anthony Hopkins, because I don't even know who else was in the movie besides him. I know there were a lot of people, but I'm just not sure who.
I've actually been to the Richard Nixon Library and Birthplace in Yorba Linda, California.
I've been to the Watergate.
Look at you.
So here we are. We're a bunch of Richard Nixon super fans over here.
Clearly.
I see Ted Kennedy. I see John Kennedy's on here. John F. Kennedy's on here.
Oh, that could get us to Von Meter.
That could get us to Von Meter. You're absolutely right. In the First Family. That's interesting.
But if Laugh-In isn't linked on Nixon's page, Von Meter is probably not going to be linked on Kennedy's page.
You think? Oh, wow.
There is a link to Hunter S. Thompson, although I don't know that helps us.
Well, that's again, that could get you into movies that.
Where did you see this link with portrayals of Nixon in media? It's
under the C also.
Oh.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom. All the way down there. Washington Senators, New Federalism. Yep. How about the 1973 oil crisis? Haha, doesn't that just make you... Boy, I'll tell you, man, this is not great. There's very little on here that is related to comedy in any way.
It is so true. It's so
which is a shame
true.
because we could have at least known for sure we had a comedian had we gone the other direction. So I apologize to you and to the listeners. Oh wait, I see. Oh, never mind. I saw Impromptu was linked, but it's an impromptu early morning meeting with them, and it's about a meeting that he had with protesters at Kent State University.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, at the Lincoln Memorial. They were from Kent State. Oh, the B-52s are on here. Oh, no, wait. The B-52 is on here. All right.
Yes, that's a very different thing.
Air Force One. That's a good movie.
So it is.
Air Force One. It's not the movie that's linked. It's the actual plane. Oh, boy. Hippie counterculture. Well, there you go. You can get through the hippie counterculture. Robert Kennedy, the Tet Offensive, Ronald Reagan. He was an actor. Was he involved? Did Ronald Reagan do any vaudeville? Do you know?
I don't think he's quite that old.
No, I don't think so either. But he was in, he's in movies in the 50s. So maybe he was, super young vaudeville act or something like that. No, maybe could have been.
Nope. Not saying it.
Nope.
Not saying it.
Not at all. Okay. Well then, what do you think, man? What do you think is our best bet here? CBS? You like CBS?
I don't like a lot of these.
Oh, I don't like a lot of these either. Joseph McCarthy. He's funny in a different way.
Indeed, he is.
Microfilm is linked on here. I'm trying to find things now that are just like more general.
Hubert Humphrey is linked here.
Okay.
And
Walk
do you know where he hails from?
No, I don't think I do.
The great state of Minnesota.
I see. Okay.
So I'm just saying, if we click on Hubert Humphrey, that gets us, near a place. He probably knew Dudley Riggs for all we know.
Not sure if I'm going to go quite that far. I do see that Nixon graduated with a Bachelor of Arts. That's linked, as is The Dark Tower, a mystery drama by George S. Kaufman and Alexander Woolcott, first produced in 1933. So there's a link to that play.
Well,
what do you think of that?
George Kaufman was a playwright of some renown.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Sure, I like it. Let's do it.
I don't know I don't know. I
don't think it'll be quick, but we know Hubert Humphrey is likely to be geographical. But if you don't want to go Hubert Humphrey, then I'm fine.
Well, I just don't. We try to stay away from the geography thing. Give me 1 second here. I'm looking through the final section here just to make sure. I've gone backwards. And I'm going up through the top here just to make sure there's nothing else better than that. But at least it's a play. At least it gets into. But I don't know. See, the problem is though, we're going to go through that, and it's going to be a little tiny page about that play, right? It's not going to have a whole lot of links out of it.
Yeah, but we're really trying to get to George S. Kaufman.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, because he wrote for like the Kaufman and Hart, like. He's a well-known playwright. I don't know The Dark Tower itself, but George S. Kaufman is what we're looking to get to.
Yeah. I guess that's probably the best.
Let's just do it and get it over with.
All right, let's do it.
The Dark Tower, under Early Career in Marriage. Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
There it is. Oh, look.
Oh my God.
It is incredibly short.
This is the shortest little page I've ever seen.
It's so short.
Oh no.
But you know who's linked here?
Who's
is
that?
George S. Kaufman.
Well, he is, as are several other people. Mary
Alexander
Astor,
Walcott.
Louis Calhern, and Edward G. Robinson.
It's so true.
Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah.
The Man with Two Faces. Warner Brothers is linked on here. I mean, there are links here to other entertainment things, but you're saying
George S. Kaufman wrote for the Marx Brothers. So that gets us to comedy. So I'm going to say George S. Kaufman. Don't overthink it. Just go.
All right, let's go. George S. Kaufman.
All right, here we go. Look at that. American playwright, theater director, producer, humorist, and drama critic. Oh, humorist is linked.
Humorist. I do like humor.
Fantastic. So this gives us some options here. We get a little breathing room now. I get a little breathing room.
Well, I'll be damned. Do you know where George S. Kaufman was born?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
No, he was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Look at that. Hooray. Well done,
knew?
Pittsburgh. Well done.
Looks like he's got a Broadway debut in 1918 at the Knickerbocker Theater.
Ooh, that's exciting.
There's a whole lot of plays linked on here. There's Animal Crackers and the Coconuts. There's you're talking about the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers are on here. Harpo Marx,
like it all.
Groucho Marx. Dick Cavett is linked on here.
Is he now?
Yes, as is Carnegie Hall. So there's all kinds of possibilities here. But which is best? Which will get us the closest to improv comedy?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing many things here.
Yeah, me too.
It's very exciting. All of the many things that are here.
Yeah,
he was a member of the Algonquin Round Table. Which
Groucho Marx.
It's a very good table to sit at if you want to sit at a table.
For sure, especially a round table. Vanity Fair is linked on here. Happy Days is linked on here. Wonder Woman.
Very nice.
Donald Oliver compiled and edited a collection of Kaufman's humorous pieces. Tony Shalhoub is linked on here.
Is he now?
Yeah. The Coen brothers are linked on here. Barton Fink. Gosh, well, there's a lot of really good possibilities here, none of which get us, I don't think, directly into improv comedy, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think humorist is the best way to go? Do you think, because comedy itself just doesn't seem to be on here unless I'm missing it.
Yeah, it's hard because humorist is a different thing than a stage performer. Like you think of humorist, you think of like PJ O'Rourke or somebody like a dry-witted writer and not necessarily a performer.
When you mouse over it, it comes up with a picture of Mark Twain. So
so there is theater director, which would get us to theater, and possibly a list of famous directors, many of whom have an improv background. I'm thinking specifically of Mike Nichols.
But probably Groucho Marx is the way to go, right?
No.
Because Groucho Marx, why? Groucho Marx is a comedian. Groucho Marx is going to have a link into vaudeville. Groucho Marx is going to have a link to a lot of other comedians.
So, yes, but we are trying to get to Dudley Riggs.
Right.
Right? So, Groucho Marx is a legendary, famous comedian, but we're trying to get to improvisational theater in particular.
And you don't think that Groucho Marx did any improv?
No, not in the context in which it is commonly understood, because it is a separate theatrical movement, and not that the Marx Brothers weren't capable of doing, things that were not scripted, but they did not do improv in the way that modern theater classifies improv. They did vaudeville, which was different.
But as did this guy, right? As did Dudley Riggs.
Yes. I think theater director is the way to go. I think that's going to get us...
Theater director.
Yes, it is the second link.
Ooh.
And I think that's going to open it up to a wide variety of theatrical styles, and that will likely get us towards improv. That is my strong feeling, and I urge you to have faith in me this one last time.
So none of these performers, none of these Tony Shalhoub or none the Coen brothers, none of this feels...
I grant you that all of them will eventually get us to where we're going. I think that they are
director gets us there faster.
I think that theater director casts a broader net in the right fishing waters of where we want to go, whereas Tony Shalhoub casts a narrower net in the fishing waters that we're looking at.
What about Broadway?
No, I think theater director is better.
No?
Because Broadway is...
All right, show me how.
All right, theater director, second link at the top of the page. Here we go. This article has multiple issues, so help clean it up if you happen to be going through it here.
Yeah, it's not a super long one, but
director in theater history. A lot of exciting thing here.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some wonderful people who are.
Show me the direction we need to go here exactly.
I'm looking through it. Let me get through it.
I will. Oh yeah, I will. I mean, it won't take you long because there's not many links on it. So.
But under the sea also, do you see the links that I'm seeing, Matt? Do you see the links that I'm seeing, Matt? Do you
how do you do this? Do you go through and edit this stuff? How is it that improvisational theater happens to be under theater director? That doesn't even make sense to me why it's here. But there it is, improvisational theater. I mean, that's what we're going to for sure. Like it's
going to be, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Let's do it. What do you think that it's going to be Tony Shalhoub? Improvisational theater, often called improvisational comedy. Swedish actors perform in theater sports, a competitive form of improv. A lovely picture shows.
I'm just saying it surprises me that it's linked right here. But here it is. And you know who else is linked on this page?
Who?
Is some people credit American Dudley Riggs as the first vaudevillian to use audience suggestions to create improvised sketches on stage. Yay! And Dudley Riggs is, of course, linked. So where we go. He is it's right in the very first section. Well, not the first section. Under history, modern, and then you go like 2 sentences
there it is,
in,
Dudley
and
Riggs.
you will see Mr. Dudley Riggs.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Dudley
there
Riggs.
He is. Dudley Riggs back again to tell you a little bit about being an improviser, and he is from Little Rock, Arkansas. So I won't read too much about him. Just in case we happen to have guessed the same number. If you guessed the number correctly today, good for you, Jethro. The number was 9. It is our longest walk of the season.
I did not guess it correctly. I guessed 7. What did you guess, Matt?
Well, I guess 6, Jethro. I guess 6.
That's what you get for having faith in us.
You drew us out. You drew us out on purpose. You took us in terrible directions purposely to make that a longer walk because you guessed a larger number. Didn't you?
No.
Didn't you?
No.
Admit it.
I'd love to redo the episode, taking all of your suggestions to see how many links it would be.
Good, right, you should.
Next week, I'm going to give you veto power over every link.
I don't want veto power over every link. I'm just saying, I just don't. Well, anyway, I'm going to go back and do this one myself and see how long it takes me because I think some of these Bill of Rights to First Amendments to Nixon. Come on, Nixon. You picked Nixon.
I wish that Dudley Riggs had a corporate gig at the Astronaut Beach House and it was a one-click show, but that didn't happen. So
he might have. And they just didn't list it on the Wikipedia page. Well, this has been awesome. Our longest walk of the season, not time wise, but definitely link wise. And there it is. That's the Astronaut Beach House all the way to Dudley Riggs. And next week, our final episode of the season, Jethro.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. We'll go from Dudley Riggs all the way back to the Montreal Screwjob.
Woohoo! Can't wait.
I have to see how that works out. But that'll be it. So. Hopefully you, the listener, will join us. Jethro, hopefully you'll join the listener and I. And hopefully I'll join you and listener.
It'll be a confluence of greatness from all sides.
Fantastic. Take care, everybody. Hey everybody, Matt Hartman here again for Drunkard's Walk. Thanks so much for listening again this week. A big thank you to Jesse L. Lee for our theme music and Nick Caramio for our artwork, of course. And you heard our big announcement. We are going to be doing a Drunkard's Walk live coming up on Saturday, January 21st at 8 p.m. So head on over to arcadecomedytheater.com and you can get your tickets there. You can also get them at the door, I'm assuming, assuming we don't sell out, which isn't going to happen. So you can get them at the door if you want to, but anyway, we really hope that you'll join us for that. We would love to have you there. We're going to have some special guests on hand as well, and we'd love to see you, and we hope that you would like to be there. So arcadecomedytheater.com to get those tickets if you are living in Pittsburgh, and if you're not, you want to visit Pittsburgh, hey, come on down January is a great time to visit Pittsburgh. It's not super cold or gray or dreary or anything. All right. We'll see you next week, everybody.